Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into our time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
An episode of radio's outstanding theater of thrills on this Tuesday, Suspense, 67 years ago. December 27th, 1955, The Mystery of the Marie-Celeste, starring John Dehner. And we thank you for tuning in. On this Tuesday, this is the 27th day of December, 361st day of the year, and we have 4 days remaining until we get to 2023. Charles Darwin embarked on his journey aboard the HMS Beagle in 1831, where he formulated the theory of evolution. Ether anesthetic used for childbirth for the first time in 1845. James Barrie's play Peter Pan premiered in London in 1904. Leon Trotsky expelled from the Communist Party in 1927. Radio City Music Hall opened on this date in 1932. In 1945, the World Bank created with the signing of an agreement by 28 nations. On this date in 1947, guess what premiered? It's Howdy Doody Time. Yeah, Buffalo Bob Smith. It's Howdy Doody Time, premiering on this date in history. Also, the end of the long-running radio program The Breakfast Club on this date in 1968.
Presenting America's favorite, the NBC Breakfast Club with Don McNeil.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning to you. We woke up bright and early just to howdy do you. Coffee's on and fruits and toast, bacon and skillet. Joe Galicchio and his boys have tunes to fill it. So come on, gang, let's take a poll at this day's meeting. Line up, kids, I'll call the roll and sing your greetings. Nancy Martin.
Well, how do you do?
And Jack Baker.
Glad to see you.
The Vagabonds, our guests today.
So breakfast lovers, wake up and smile. It's not the morning happy, make life worthwhile. Good morning, breakfast lovers, good morning to you. We got up bright and early to howdy do ya. Standing on the center fellas, don't go, we don't care. America, alright. The breakfast club is on the air.
Good morning. No chance, please. Just good morning. It's December 8th, 1941, Monday morning. Fine day. Glad to see you around the breakfast table. Hiya, boys.
Not the final show that ABC aired, but one that was quite a difficult show, I'm sure, to do. The Breakfast Club, ending on this date in 1968. Closing on this date in 1970, Hello, Dolly. The Soviet Union seized control of Afghanistan on this date in 1979. It was on this date in 1985, Palestinian guerrillas killed 18 people inside the airports of Rome, Italy, and Vienna.
This was a terrorist attack against many nationalities, many countries. As I've said before, we're all in this together. Unfortunately, again, there were Americans killed, but there were also innocent victims of other nationalities. And as I said, we can only deplore and condemn in the strongest terms this sort of cowardly criminal act.
I do not believe, therefore, that the local commanders on the ground, men who have already suffered quite enough, should be punished for not fully comprehending the nature of today's terrorist threat. If there is to be blame, it properly rests here in this office and with this president. And I accept responsibility for the bad as well as the good.
Although a Republican, President Reagan agreed with the sign that was on the desk of Democrat Harry S. Truman. The buck stops here. Taliban forces retook the strategic Bagram Air Base on this date in 1996, and in 2001, the People's Republic of China granted permanent normal trade relations with the U.S., one of our biggest diplomatic errors. Passing away on this date in history, Hoagie Carmichael, also Meadowlark Lemon, and Carrie Fisher. Born on this date in history, scientists Louis Pasteur, Marlene Dietrich, pianist Oscar Levant, and Joni Lahr, better known to wrestling fans as Chyna. Happy birthday number 83 to John Amos. Gerard Depardieu is 74. Singer Carla Bonoff is 71. Bill Goldberg is 56 years old. Today Show anchor Savannah Guthrie is 51. Country singer Walker Hayes is 43. Claudia Castagnoli, better known as Cesaro in the WWE, now working with AEW and Tony Khan's partner promotion, Ring of Honor, where he is the World Heavyweight Champion, and deservedly so, 41 years of age. Paramore's Hayley Williams is 34. From Bates Motel, Vanity Fair, and Ready Player One, Olivia Cooke, 29. And an Academy Award nominee for Best Actor in Call Me By Your Name, Timothée Chalamet, is 24. Those just a few of the people celebrating the 27th day of December as their birthday. If this was your birthday...
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you, Mrs. Miller. Radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense. From 67 years ago, December 27th, 1955, John Dehner in The Mystery of the Marie-Celeste. That's up next here on this Tuesday Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite station.
And here's the Cinnamon Bear.
The oldest known children's Christmas cereal in radio history, the Cinnamon Bear, featuring some of the most popular actors in radio history, including Elliot Lewis, Joseph Kearns, Verna Felton, Lou Merrill, Frank Nelson, Howard McNear, and child actress Barbara Jean Wong. 85 years later, this series of Judy and Jimmy traveling to Maybeland to recover their silver star still fascinates youngsters of all ages. Now we're offering the entire 26-episode series of The Cinnamon Bear via download for a Buy Me a Coffee donation of $10 or more at classicradio.stream. Support Classic Radio Theater and have The Cinnamon Bear for your family to enjoy for years to come. Go to classicradio.stream and donate $10 or more, and I'll send you a link for immediate download. classicradio.stream. On this Tuesday edition of Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, find radio actor John Dehner in radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense, from 67 years ago today, December 27th, 1955, and the mystery of the Marie-Celeste.
And now, tonight's presentation of radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense. Tonight, we bring you one of the great mysteries of the sea. A ship found drifting in perfect condition, but with no human aboard. We call it the Mystery of the Marie-Celeste. So now, starring John Dehner, here is tonight's suspense play, The Mystery of the Marie-Celeste.
On December 9th, 1872, the American brigantine Marie Celeste was discovered adrift and derelict close off the coast of North Africa. She had sustained some storm damage, but she was still an able ship. Her sails were set, her cargo was intact, conditions in her cabins and forecastle seemed normal. There was no evidence of violence. Yet not a sign was found of the crew that had manned her. Officers, men, and the captain's wife had vanished, and no acceptable explanation of their disappearance has ever been advanced. Perhaps this is that story. It would start in New York City's Harbor District on the night of November 7th, 1872, the eve of the Marie Celeste's departure from that same harbor.
man running past this way.
No, I didn't see anybody. I heard the shots. Who is this you're after?
He just killed some people.
Listen. What?
Thought I heard something. But I don't now.
Who did the man kill?
A young girl. And the man she was with. And then he killed the girl's mother. He's a maniac that we've got to get. I'll look down this way.
Well, I'll help if I can.
All right. More men from the force will be here shortly.
I didn't remember killing her mother. Grace I killed because I couldn't help it. The man because he came after me when Grace was down. But I never meant to kill her mother. And when I heard that I hadn't, I wondered if the officer was right. And then I was insane. There was not time to think of it then. Only time to think of getting away. And through that night I searched for a ship that was leaving soon, and one that was badly guarded so I could slip aboard. When I found her, she was the Marie Celeste, and the drunken deck watch stayed in his sleep until I was hidden in number 2 hold. There I passed 2 days in a dream, neither fully awake nor asleep, but always thinking of the horror I had done. And I knew that escape was wrong, and that I could never be sane until I cleared my soul of it. On the 3rd morning, I proceed to make my presence aboard known so that I can go to the captain and tell him of my crime and take the consequences I so richly deserve. I climb to the deck and am immediately seen by a crewman.
Lindley, look. Who's that?
Who are you, mister, and what are you doing aboard?
My name is Sam Newcomb, and I want to talk to your captain.
You'll talk to him right enough, whether you want to or not. How'd you get on board?
You'll be lucky if you didn't stand the 12-4 watch your last night in port, because that's when it was.
You're uppity for a stowaway, aren't you? You're no better than a thief.
I admit that. I want no trouble with you. Please, take me to the captain. I'll talk to him and no one else.
You take him, Bull. I'd better stay forward.
Come on, Newcomb. You're gonna make the rest of the trip with us. You better drop your airs or there'll be trouble.
I don't have any airs, and I don't think you'll be troubled with my company.
Oh, you mean you don't think you'll quarter with the crew?
No.
You expect to be with the officers like an honored guest?
No.
Where then?
I don't know.
You act like you're daft.
Don't you say that. I'll...
You what?
Nothing. I'm sorry. I want to talk to you, Captain.
You watch what you do or say. You'll be over the side. Here.
Yes, come.
Watch your language. The skipper's wife is in the next cabin aft.
Well, who's this?
He just came out of number 2 hold, sir. His name's Sam Newcomb. Got aboard on the 12-4 watch hour last night in.
Hubbard's watch. He'll answer for it. Well, Newcomb, what do you have to say for yourself?
Well, I'd like it if I could talk to you alone, sir.
Well, that's all, Bull. Tell Hubbard I'll want to see him as soon as he's off watch.
Yes, sir.
You realize, Newcomb, that you've committed a crime by boarding this ship without permission. And probably without passport or any other papers, I suppose.
I know, sir, but when I tell you why... Now, I'm not a bad man, sir. Nothing like this ever happened before, but something drove me. I didn't know what I was doing.
Another one who's always wanted to go to sea, I suppose.
Oh, no, sir. I've been sailing for 10 years. I'm an able hand. I came aboard because... I had to get away.
You're in trouble?
Yes, sir. I don't think it was my fault, but... Oh, I am wrong.
What kind of trouble?
Well, there was a girl, sir, who I was in love with. I don't know what came over me, but...
Yes? What'd you do to her?
I found her with another man, and... I just had to get away, sir.
Lovesick, eh? Well, that doesn't condone... Oh, yes, my dear.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I heard you talking.
Yes, this is Mr. Newcomb. He came aboard illegally the night before we left.
Well, where has he been? It's 3 days.
In number 2 hold, ma'am.
Have you had food and water?
No, ma'am.
Why haven't you come to us before this?
I don't know, ma'am.
He was going to tell me why he came aboard.
I don't suppose it's important to anyone but me. I felt that I had to get away, and...
It was a girl.
I almost guessed that. A broken heart?
I thought it was. I know it sounds silly, but to me it seemed awfully serious, and I couldn't think of another way to leave as quickly as I wanted to.
Yes. Well, there's no way I can allow an affair of the heart to influence what I must do in this case. By reputation, I'm a fair and lenient man.
Well, I'm a seaman, sir. I could work my way.
I'm not so sure you deserve the chance.
Whatever you say, sir.
Ben.
Oh, please, Grace.
Grace?
What's the matter with you?
Nothing, sir.
My name. Grace is the name of the girl.
Yes, ma'am. It was learning that the captain's wife was aboard that made me change my mind about telling him the truth. When I talked to him, especially after his wife came, everything was turned about. It was as though I was the captain and the stowaway was someone else. It was as though my wife, my Grace, had come in from the next cabin, and together we talked to this stowaway. And we felt sorry for him and wanted to be kind to him. The wife can't be more than 3 or 4 years older than I, and I feel close to her right away. I think that even if she doesn't know what I've done, she understands me. It is a good feeling to have one friend on the ship. Through her, please, I am sure I am not restrained, and instead sent to take my place with the crew in their forecastle.
Well, what are you doing here? Couldn't you find a better place to quarter?
I was told where to come.
Hubbard. Wake up. He's the one came aboard during your watch.
Huh?
What did you figure you'd be fined, Hubbard? A week's pay?
Yeah, that's right. Newcomb, huh?
Yes.
Why'd you come aboard?
I wanted to get away from New York.
Man's got to have a better reason than that. You running away from the police?
No.
What then?
But it wouldn't interest you. It's not important.
It's important to me. And I want you to know how I feel about it. Are you going to get up?
No. I want no trouble with any of you.
You don't want any trouble. You caused me trouble, haven't you? I'll be called up in front of the captain because of you.
That's done. There's no way I can change it.
We got 3 weeks before we make Naples. You'll pay for it. I'll see to that.
Through the following days, I knew no peace. There were 4 deckhands and a first officer, and although I had reason to fight because of the way they beat me and used me, I did not. I was afraid of my own violence now that I had killed. The one named Hubbard was the worst. His eyes were always on me, and I wondered why. There was a night when I woke to find him bending over my bunk. He was smiling, and from that moment on, even in sleep, I felt him watching me. On another night, I am on deck. I'm crossing from port to starboard, and when I pass under the main yard, a marlin spike falls from aloft. and sticks in the planks beside me, narrowly missing my head. I look up to see Hubbard smiling down at me from the rigging. I try to avoid him, but he drops to the deck to face me.
I dropped my spikes.
I know you did.
What are you going to do about it?
Nothing.
You take more than any man I've ever known, Newcomb.
I'm not proud of that. But why do you keep after me? Why don't you leave me alone?
Because I'm a curious man. I want to know truly why you're on this ship.
From 67 years ago today, December 27th, 1955, Suspense. And the mystery of the Marie-Celes, starring John Dehner, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Want to thank Robert for his very nice Buy Me a Coffee. Robert lives up in Washington State, and we appreciate him helping to support the show and keep us rolling here. Anyway, the news from 67 years ago today comes up following these important messages from your favorite radio station. Thanks for joining us on this Tuesday here on your favorite station. It seems like I say this a lot, but I mean it sincerely. Thank you so much for making us a part of your day here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. We're here listening to an episode of Suspense, the Mystery of the Marie-Celeste, as it was originally broadcast on Tuesday, December 27th, 1955. In the newspapers of that Tuesday, 67 years ago today, these were some of the headlines. The Soviet Union's finance minister presented to Parliament yesterday the 1956 government budget, which he declared contains a slash of almost 10% in defense spending. The budget outlined to the 1,400 members of the Supreme Soviet who were called into special session to adopt it and to hear President Bulganin and Communist Party Secretary Nikita Khrushchev report on their Asian tour. Defense spending put at 102.5 billion rubles. That was almost 10 billion less than the figure in the 1955 budget. He said the reduction made to permit greater development of the public economy and culture. Senator Alban W. Barkley gave the bride away yesterday, but not far. His stepdaughter married his grandson. The bride, Mrs. Jane Hadley, daughter of Mrs. Barkley, and the late Carlton Hadley of St. Louis, Army Corporal Thomas Truitt, son of Washington attorney, and Mrs. Max Truitt, the bridegroom. Commerce Secretary Sinclair Weeks predicted yesterday the soaring American economy will rise to new heights during the first half of 1956, paced by the bellwether steel, auto, and construction industries. He also foresaw a little upturn in the farm economy, a good chance of a balanced budget, and no crash potentialities in the current stock market situation. Weeks ducked any prediction of a tax cut in 1956, but said if it should come, the emphasis should be on relief to the consumer. John Fell Stevenson's shattered right kneecap removed yesterday in a 2-hour, 15-minute operation. Damaged tendons repaired during the surgery at Passavant Hospital in Chicago. A spokesman reported that at the end of the operation, everything's fine. The boy ultimately will be able to enjoy his normal activities, including tennis and skiing. The 19-year-old Stevenson, youngest son of the 1952 Democrat presidential candidate Adlai Stevenson, suffered the shattered kneecap and some of his teeth were knocked out Wednesday when a car he was riding in collided with a truck near Goshen, Indiana. President Eisenhower, taking it easy after a gay family Christmas, conferred about world affairs for almost an hour yesterday with Secretary of State John Foster Dulles. Dulles, the president's only official caller, as Mr. Eisenhower interrupted his Christmas celebration to spend half a day at his White House desk. Well, reporters in the City Hall at Birmingham, Alabama, recently momentously blamed Christmas season goodwill for the fact the police radio was very quiet. One newsman said, "I can't remember a time when the radio's been so quiet." It wasn't until later that a reporter discovered someone had stolen both loudspeakers during the lunch hour. And a modern Pandora beauty specialist, Joan Porter, got curious about a locked box in the attic. When her husband went away on business, she uncovered a key and unlocked the box. And there were the troubles. Her husband's diaries, meticulously hoarded since 1949, they referred to affairs with other women. They were couched, Mrs. Porter told the divorce court, in Anglo-Saxon language. Judge granted her a divorce. And those some of the day's top news stories as reported in the newspapers of Tuesday, December 27th, 1955. On your radio 67 years ago, Suspense, the Mystery of the Marie-Celeste, which continues now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Your story to the captain about trouble with some woman just doesn't set right.
It's the truth.
Not all of it.
Why do you say that?
Anybody ever tell you you talk in your sleep?
You are listening to The Mystery of the Marie-Celeste. Tonight's presentation in radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense.
December 27th, 1955, Suspense on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on a Tuesday. On Wednesday's Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, Brooke Temple, starring in The Adventures of Red Ryder from 76 years ago, December 28th, 1946. 76 years ago, as I said, $40,000 in stolen gold hidden somewhere on Ghost Mountain. We'll find out where on Wednesday's Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. But now the conclusion of Suspense, and this is from 67 years ago, Tuesday, December 27th, 1955.
And now we bring back to our Hollywood soundstage John Dehner, starring in tonight's production, The Mystery of the Marie-Celeste, a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
I had never been told that I talked in my sleep until the one named Hubbard said I did. He may have been lying, but I could not chance that. Therefore, I carefully abstained from regular sleeping habits, allowing myself short naps only when I knew that Hubbard was at the helm or some other ship's business that he could not leave. The horror that I had done became a secret that pressed against my head, wanting escape. But I held it in, and I took the abuse of the men aboard. The only kindness and relaxation I find are during the moments when I chance to meet the captain's wife. Off watch one night, when it is not safe to sleep, I am alone, taking a cup of tea in the galley when she comes in. Oh, Mrs. Briggs.
Why, Mr. Newcomb, I've been thinking of you. I haven't seen... Well, you look ill. Is something wrong?
Nothing, ma'am. Oh, my sleep has not been so good.
And your cheek is bruised.
Oh.
What happened?
No, nothing serious. Some trouble with the other hands.
Have you told the captain?
No.
Why not? I shall.
No, please, don't. I've caused enough trouble. I wouldn't want there to be any more.
May I have some tea, Mr. Newcomb?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I think you're a very kind man, Mr. Newcomb.
Oh, you do?
Yes. To protect the other hands, for one thing. They're a rough lot, I know.
No worse than most men, ma'am.
You're very unhappy, aren't you? This girl, Grace. I know this is hard for you to understand, but really, no one girl is worth ruining your life for. Not even losing sleep for.
Yes, ma'am.
I wish you'd stop calling me ma'am. Perhaps if you did, you could talk to me about this girl. I think it would do you good, don't you?
I don't know.
Tell me about her. I'm sure she's quite beautiful.
Well, I thought so.
And you plan to be married?
Yes.
But she changed her mind.
Well, she was never sure. She was ambitious for me.
That's natural.
And I disappointed her like I did my family, my mother, everybody. I'm always thinking that I'm doing my best, but I always disappoint people.
What did she want you to be, this girl?
Oh, a ship's master like your husband. We dreamed of the day she could sail with me like you do on this ship.
You mustn't lose faith in yourself. It took my husband years to get his papers.
There are no years for me anymore.
She wouldn't wait.
No, she wouldn't wait. You must have waited, but she wouldn't. She promised to wait, but she didn't. She never understood that it took time. She was ambitious, and she pushed me for my officer's papers, and I failed. My family pushed me, too, when I wasn't ready, and they made me fail. And I went away, a 6-month trip to South America. I tried to jump overboard, and they stopped me. And I got back and found her married to a ship's captain. And her mother was there, laughing at me. I tried to tell them that I was happy about it. Then Grace smiled at me, and something happened.
Mr. Newcomb.
I was only going to kill her. I didn't even know the others were there. I hit her, and when she went down, the man came after me, and I hit him, too. And when you get in a mix-up like that, you just don't know what you're doing. And time means nothing. It's like everything else.
Mr. Newcomb.
And then her mother. I don't remember that. But she's dead, too, and then they blame me. Maybe I did. Miss Briggs, where are you going?
Stay away from me.
Oh, no, you've been nice to me. Why did it have to be you that I told everything? No, please, I like you. Why did it have to be you?
No.
No, I don't want to kill you. I never wanted to kill anybody.
Let me go.
No, please, I won't hurt you. You've been nice to me.
Stay away from me.
I won't touch you. I won't touch you. But you got to promise. You won't tell. I don't know why I said those things. They aren't true. I get mixed up. I dream things and then they seem real after I wake up. That's why I'm such a liar. I always lie. Nothing I told you was the truth. Nothing. You believe that?
Yes.
You won't tell anybody what I said?
I won't tell anyone.
Oh, I'm glad. Now, come, Mrs. Briggs, finish your tea. We'll talk about something else.
No, I've got to go to my cabin.
Mrs. Briggs! Don't tell. I knew she would tell, and so I hid. I went back to number 2 hole where I had felt safe before. I don't know how much time passed. There they find me. I see their lantern as they come closer. The truth is out, and there is no place for me to go. So I stand up and wait.
Captain, I hear him, I think.
Yes, Hubbard. Keep your pistol ready. We'll have to be careful.
Yes, sir. There he is, sir.
Come out of there, Newcomb. Keep your lantern down, Hubbard. Keep us out of the light. He's dangerous.
I won't cause any trouble, sir.
Get him out of there.
I won't cause any trouble, sir.
It's all right, sir. He's down.
The dirty scum. Lock him up.
I am not sure how many days passed, but I found comfort in being locked up because I could sleep without the fear of Hubbard leaning over me, listening for what I might say. Then there was one night when shouting on deck woke me up. I couldn't hear the words being in the middle of the ship, but soon the shouting stopped, and there was silence. It was a new silence that I studied for a long time. I heard no footsteps on the deck. I heard no voices. I heard no creaking timbers. It was a dead ship. I wait for the one daily meal that they allow me. No one comes. And then I shout. Let me out! Let me out of here! Somebody come! Let me out! If one were insane, he would surely break at a moment like that. I was locked up and alone on a ship that was held motionless as if gripped by some great hand. But I did not break. I dismantled my bunk and from the wood fashioned a ram with which I attacked the door. The task of freeing myself consumed most of the day. And such was my concentration that I didn't realize the exact moment that the ship began moving, as if the great hand had released its grip and set her free. And I was free. I come out on deck to find a cloudless sky and empty sea horizons all around, as if I am alone in the world. The wheel spinning idly with no one to attend it. I lash it after fitting a new course to the sail she is wearing. The whole ship is mine. I am master and crew. And I have found peace and well-being, as if I've been absolved of any wrongs I ever did. Because what, if not Providence, held the ship that night and sent the others to certain death in the endless sea? What, if not kind Providence, decided that I alone would survive? The meek and humble shall inherit the earth. This narrative I swear to be true. And on this 2nd day of December, the year of our Lord, 1872, I hereby sign it and seal it in a bottle to be delivered to the ocean currents, in the hope that someday it will drift back to the hated world from which I am forever parted.
According to scientific theory, a strange phenomenon takes place now and again off the coast of Africa near where the Marie Celeste was found. Great rivers of sand are swept out from the coastal deserts. When certain conditions prevail, this sand is concentrated by the ocean currents. Millions of tons are massed until an island is born, lives briefly, and then is swept away by a shift in the currents that created it. One such island formed under a small ship during World War II, held it for a number of hours, then released it, much in the same manner that Sam Newcomb's Providence acted. A like occurrence could have caused the abandonment of the Marie Celeste, but no one knows. According to some reports, Sam Newcomb's signed confession did drift ashore many years later. If that is true, perhaps another of the many mysteries surrounding the Marie Celeste has been solved. That mystery was a short length of line that reportedly was found secured to the stern of the ship, close up under the transom where someone would hide. Attached to this line was a man's leather belt that had parted in the middle. Could Sam Newcomb have hidden there when the salvage crew was put aboard to sail the ship to Gibraltar? Could he have hung suspended there against the weakening belt until it parted and let him sink silently into the sea?
Suspense, in which John Dehner starred in tonight's presentation of The Mystery of the Marie Celeste. Next week, the story of a murder plan that was discovered and which led to a double execution. We call it The Eavesdropper. That's next week on Suspense. Suspense is produced and directed by Anthony Ellis. Tonight's script was written by Gil Dowd. The music was composed by Lucien Morawek and René Garrigang, and conducted by Wilbur Hatch. Featured in the cast were Victor Perrin, Joseph Kearns, Paul Frees, Ben Wright, Joe Duvall, and Helen Klebe.
From December 27th, 1955, Suspense on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Thank you so much for making us a part of your day. Would you thank this station and support their advertisers? Their kindness and courtesy are what make it possible for us to be with you each and every Tuesday here on your favorite station. Thank you for making it possible for us to be here, starting our 8th year of Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. We have a webpage, classicradio.stream. Stream our shows on demand. Learn about building a classic radio collection of your own. You can also contact me, find our social media links. You can also buy me a coffee. The Buy Me a Coffee money helps us acquire additional classic radio collections, and it also helps us when we're dealing here on Classic Radio Theater with maintaining our distribution channels. It's very important to be able to take care of all that. That's at classicradio.stream, classicradio.stream. Thank you so much for making us a part of your day. Thank this station. Support their advertisers. We appreciate them so much. And please tell your friends the great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite station.